All right, part three and the final part for 2025. So we've got all the way to the end of March after two. So just to give some highlights here, Neptune enters Aries on March 30th. That's just fantastic. We just absolutely love that. And the sad part is that Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Neptune really liked being in Pisces, and Pisces liked Neptune being there. There was sort of like old home. It was years. It lasted for quite a few years. But the thing is, life has to move on, and we have to kind of change the flavor. So when we have Neptune moving into Aries, it's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing, actually. There's going to be a lot of vibrancy around our spirituality. And there are a lot of, you know what, there's going to be a different flavor about our spirituality and how we approach it. So that's not a bad thing. That's wonderful. It's going to be creative. We may see gains in visual arts or a new spiritual movement. And Neptune is at its best in nature, and in Mars and in Aries, it kind of is can sometimes it's going to make us change our priorities. But you know, with this transit, we're collectively invited to get real about our dreams, and there's nothing better than Aries to make some dreams come true. So that's why when we have Neptune in Aries, it's like Neptune's comfortable in Pisces, but it's going to get things done. Dreams are going to come true. Now, on April 7th, Mercury is stations direct in Pisces, so that's wonderful. April 12th, Venus stations direct. So April is when we're going to start to have, some things are happening. That's going to be good. On April 18th, that's the date that we officially can see Mars is going to enter Leo again, and our energy is back 100%. So that's going to be fantastic. And then we also have, let's see, Venus enter Aries again because it has been retrograde on April 30th. All good stuff. Now, Pluto is going to retrograde. When the outer planets retrograde, they all retrograde between 4 and 6 months a year. So that's not that big of a deal. It's going to retrograde from May 4th to October 13th. So you know what? It's just sort of the power struggles, the intensity is going to just lessen just slightly. It's not a huge seismic deal, so don't be concerned about that. Now on May 24th, Saturn is going to finally leave Pisces. It's following Neptune. Saturn and Neptune have kind of been neighbors recently. Sometimes you'll find that where the outer planets will travel together. They kind of help each other. They create a different flavor. So as a matter of fact, Saturn kind of takes the edge off of Saturn just a little bit. Neptune takes the edge off of Saturn because Saturn can be a little stern. So Saturn's going to enter Aries on May 24th, just briefly from May 24th through September 1st, and then it's going to retrograde it back into Pisces. Saturn is considered in its fall or detriment in Aries and doesn't like being in Aries. So, and Aries doesn't like Saturn being in its sign either. So, it's going to be a time of Saturn governs buildings, structures, time, sacrifice, while Aries is all about independence, fresh starts, individuality, and leadership. So, we may see the rise of new leaders and regimes around the globe. And there'll be a blending of the old versus the new. Saturn is old, Aries is new. And there will be and there might be some growing pains. So just kind of expect that's going to be a somewhat challenging aspect. We have 4 months of that until it goes back. That's going to give us a taste of what our next few years are going to be like. So just sort of Saturn in Aries calls for reality checks, being responsible, making choices. So that's the kind of energy we're going to be facing there. Not to be a wet blanket. It's not all bad. It's all good. Now we have moving into June, Mercury is going to enter Cancer, and on June 9th, Jupiter goes into Cancer. I love it. I love it. And for you Geminis, as it's leaving your first house, it's going into your money house. So you have a whole year of of money, luck, and good fortune. And cancers, you have a whole year. When Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, it's in its exaltation. It's loves being in Cancer. So it's bringing harmony and support and balance. So that's wonderful. And Jupiter in Cancer brings luck to women's issues, which is something I think for people who listen to me probably are, are going good. Things like fertility and mothers and family and home, but building a nest egg as well is going to be really good. It's going to open the door for prosperity and harmony and abundance. So it's a great transit. And just moving on, we have Jupiter squaring Saturn on June 15th, very important date. We have two squares between Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces. One we already had August 19th, and then one we had on December 4th. And it amplifies miscommunication and disagreements. And then we have this third square. Now Jupiter's in Cancer and Saturn's in Aries. So Jupiter will now be in a supportive position. However, Aries will be in its fall. So new issues are going to arise to work through regarding old versus new, family issues, and preserving tradition. Very, very important. So that's going to be our important thing that we're going to be looking at. Now, on July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. Poor Taurians have had Uranus in your sign for almost 7 years. And so when Uranus enters Gemini, and Uranus is change, innovation, freedom, technology. And when it goes into Gemini, it loves it. So just expect on July 7th, if you do anything in technology or communication or creativity or AI, huge changes that we can't even imagine. As a matter of fact, the last time Uranus was in Gemini was was when the telephone was invented. And the last so every time we have this transit, something huge happens with communication. And the time before that, we were in the golden age of communication for television. So whenever Uranus is in Gemini, we have wonderful, wonderful communication changes that change humanity. So we can only imagine. Someone out there right now is imagining or maybe we can put ourselves in that seat and imagine what the future is going to be like with communication. My personal hope and dream is that we'll have some kind of invention, some kind of chip that will be able to differentiate between truth and fake news. I'd really like that. I'd also like a reinstation of the fourth estate. Thank you very much. Because when our country was created, we have the three branches of the government, but we have the fourth estate, a free press. That's always been an issue, and it's never been an issue more than now. And I really pray that this Uranus going into Gemini is going to do something about that. Now, I'm going to skip ahead because we have a Mercury retrograde in July 18th. I want to make sure that we get all these really great dates here. And it's going to go direct on August 11th. And then we have Saturn retrograde is going to re-enter Pisces on September 1st. And then we have Uranus retrograde on September 6th. And when that retrogrades, it's going to we will have probably experienced a lot of inventions, and we're going to need a little break to kind of like revisit some of these inventions that we've made. Now, our next really important transit are our eclipses. On September 7th, we have a full moon total lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's positive. It's helping our intuition where we need to go. All the planets that are surrounding it are very, very positive, so no worries about that. Now, on September 21st, we have a new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo. We do have on that day the sun opposing Saturn, which that's not good. That's not good energy. So I would say out of the 4 eclipses out of the year, I think the one that's going to give us the biggest challenge is the September 21st new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo. It's not all bad, and it is for planting seeds. Jupiter is going to be in the mix with it, so that's good. And Pluto's going to be helping out. But that sun opposing Saturn makes me a little nervous. So I'm saying just be careful with that eclipse. Be careful with all eclipses. We treat them with kid gloves, right? And then as we're going through our year, October 13th, Pluto moves direct again. Yay, that's wonderful. And then Mercury retrogrades again in November, which is great because this time it's not going to be hitting December. So our Christmas won't have a Mercury retrograde or our holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate. So November 9th, Mercury is going to retro in Sagittarius. And then from November 11th through March 10th, Jupiter will retrograde in Cancer. And when Jupiter retrogrades, it's not as bad as when an inner planet retrogrades. So don't worry about that so much. November 18th, Mercury retrograde enters Scorpio. And then Saturn is going to station direct on November 27th. So our discipline will be back with us. On November 29th, Mercury turns direct, stations direct in Scorpio. And then that means, and Neptune's going to station direct on December 10th. So for the first time, guess what? We have a December with really good planets. Like nothing's really mucking things up like the past couple years. Woohoo! That's wonderful. So we can end the year on a peaceful, wonderful note because 2024 has been a little tough for us. All right, guys, that's just the basic overlook of the year. Tons of changes, but understand it's unlike the last few years. Every change that happens, now we can see, okay, now I see where this is going. I'm building from here. I can build on solid ground. And then the best part is everything we're building, we're doing a foundation in 2025. 2026, it's just all building and building and getting better and better. And I will say the trajectory of society is going up, my friends. It's going up. We're leaving a lot of the past behind, the toxicity. I'm sorry, but toxic patriarchy. I shouldn't say I'm sorry. I would take that sorry back. We're leaving it behind and we are embracing a new era. We are in the age of Aquarius. It is all about humanitarianism, truth, and freedom and justice. And that almost makes me want to say the old Superman theme and the American way. But instead of the American way, the humanitarian way, love for humanitarian issues and for humanity. And that's what we're looking at for the age of Aquarius. All my best and love to you. Thanks for listening to 3 videos if you actually made it this far. Best wishes for 2025. And if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Much love.